Part 26. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 251. You actually sent your precious grandson out. Aren't you afraid that I would accidentally kill him and make your family extinct? Zhang Zizai squinted his eyes and looked at the holy god attendant Xiankang. Xiankang's eyes were blood red. Oh, by the way, there is Xianyi, no matter what, I will never give up. The holy god's attendant is really smart. Both his son and grandson are ready. If one dies, the other one will support him. Zhang Zizai said with a smile. Everyone knew what he was insinuating. Xiankang looked into his eyes and already thought he was dead. Everyone was just amazed at how courageous this person was. It seems that you and that shameless bitch are really concubines. You dare to talk to me like this. If you hang out with a cursor, no matter how lucky you are, you will be killed. If you dare to be so high profile, this is a good thing. It's a prelude to the end of time. Xiankang gritted his teeth coldly. Zhang Zizai laughed dumbly and said, the holy god may have forgotten who the bitch was back then. The evidence is conclusive that you yourself couldn't even discipline your son, so he lost his life and was thrown into the sky. Deo, isn't it your fault that you died so miserably? In Zhang Zizai's heart, the matter of the 9 immortals was the most non-negotiable thing. Anyone who slanders her or talks about her will fight back, no matter who you are. As a man, if someone insults the person he loves verbally and does not even dare to fight back, he will think that there is no need to live at all and he should just die. All life and death, all rules, go to hell. Zhang Zizai, he asked Zhang Zizai to say a few words. Xiankang covered his chest, probably about to vomit blood from anger. Servant of the holy god, don't be angry. I'm just telling you a fact. Her fate is not good, but who can control her own fate? Some people who think they have a good fate are lawless and harm the weak. Such people are really not worthy of death. 11. I don't think there is any need for the Holy Spirit to be sad. In your words, this is fate. This made Xiankang want to kill him with his own hands, but Feng Xiaoao was watching from the side. He couldn't do it. I just want the Holy Spirit to remember who is the real bitch. You are right, I do like her because she is very good and cleaner than you. Those who slander others with dirty thoughts, people are really wretched and dirty at heart. Okay, just say a few words. Holy divine attendant Xiankang is quite old. Don't make the old man mad. That will be your fault, Feng Xiaoao said quickly, looking like he was making peace with the old man. At this time, Xianyi happened to come over with a young man in blue. The young man in blue had beautiful features and murderous eyes. Sure enough, just like Xianyi, there was always an arrogant look in his eyes. It seemed that their tutor, not really. Are you Zhang Zizai? The young man in blue walked up directly. He had heard a few words just now. Seeing his grandfather being so angry, he sneered and said, you are here to avenge Feng Li, right? Zhang Zizai said, yes, I will chop off one of your arms today and give it to her dog for dinner. He and the girl had never met. However, he must keep his word. Feng Xiaoao said quickly, smelly grandson, don't talk nonsense. If you cut off the arm, they will definitely have to see if they can reattach it. Where can they take you away to feed the dogs? Zhang Zizai asked them with a smile, if you can't catch it by then and you want to throw it away, remember to tell me where you threw it. It would be a waste if you don't feed the dog. They were really amazing. They had similar personalities, and they sang in harmony, making the entire Xuanhuan hall look furious. Stand back, I'll come. Xianyi, the young man in blue, had red eyes. Xianyi, bring me my knife. After a while, a moon-level totem weapon appeared in his hand. It was a sharp sword. The handle was the basalt pattern. There were very complex totem patterns on it, and it was very powerful. Feng Xiaoao said, you're lucky, he hasn't broken through to the 4th level of the holy body realm yet. Zhang Zizai knew it well. When they arrived, Feng Xiaoao had already told Xian Yes information, the wild level totem, the 9-headed Xuanhuan totem, which has dual attributes. They are water and wood respectively. Of course, Zhang Zizai has both attributes. When he started to take action without saying a word, the phantom of the 9-headed Xuanhuan totem loomed around him. 9 snake heads protruded from a turtle shell. This giant beast looked indeed very scary. However, before Death Dragon, everything was a paper tiger. Zhang Zizai, who was holding the Lonja sword, and Xian Ye, who was holding the Xuanhuan heavenly sword, instantly killed each other under the intense attention of everyone. Tyrant 9 cuts? Xian Ye relied on this fighting technique to cut off Fengli's arm last year. It was really cruel to cut off a girl's arm. He was just challenging it to become famous. In those 9 slashes, the power of the 9-headed Xuanhuan holy body was fully displayed, and every time it was bitten down like a giant beast. Zhang Zizai remained silent and showed his power to the extreme. Dragon robbery swordsmanship. Fire dragon prison. Ice dragon thorn. Thunder dragon annihilation. The continuous changes of Lonja sword from light sword to heavy sword, the 3 sword techniques are simply lightning fast. This is a head-on confrontation, with both sides showing no mercy at all. Bang bang bang. When the Thunder Dragon annihilation is finished and the 3 swords merge into one, the power of the Dragon Robbery sword technique is fully demonstrated. The majestic charging force directly defeated Xian Ye, who was at the 3rd level of the holy body realm. Boom! His 9-headed Xuanhuan holy body exploded, and Zhang Zizai's violent sword energy, containing the true energy of the death god Nether Dragon, hit his right arm. It only made a small sword mark, and did not cut off his arm, because at the last moment, Xian Ye was pulled back by Xian Kang. He was ready, and he couldn't let his grandson lose his arm. After all, although he didn't think his grandson would be defeated directly, he still kept a trick. Thrilling. He was scared and broke into a cold sweat. Not only him, but all the people in the Xuanhuan hall were also scared and broke into a cold sweat. They didn't expect Zhang Zizai to be so strong. It's just a monster. However, just when they thought it was a phantom, they heard Xian Ye screaming wildly at this moment. When people looked over, they were already stunned. I saw a gray-black dragon wrapped around his arm. In a short time, the dragon bit off all the flesh and blood on his right arm. Pot, 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 several pieces of hand bones fell to the ground. In the blink of an eye, the flesh and blood on the arm disappeared, and even the bones drooped down. Xian Ye saw with his own eyes that the flesh and blood on his arm were gone. The pain was really terrible. His face was pale and he screamed in pain. At this time, he remembered the girl who fell to the ground and cried bitterly. At that time, he could only sneer and laugh at this person for overestimating her own ability and trying to save face for Xiaoao Palace. Today, he was even more miserable. Karma has always worked. Xian Ye, remember, this is the true chi of the death god Nether Dragon, which was given to me by the ancient god a few days ago. It seems that the ancient god wants your arm to pay off his debt. Zhang Zizai put away the dragon ghost sword and said with a smile. It's a pity that I can't bring something for your niece then. He looked at Feng Xiaoao with apology. Feng Xiaoao said in embarrassment, why don't we fight again and take off the other arm? This time, don't use that true energy, just chop it directly. At this point, he suddenly laughed and said, Xian Kang, it's just a joke, don't be angry. It hurts the harmony between the two of us. Our 2 halls are brotherly alliances, and we have to interact more in the future. It's getting late, and this turtle grandson and I will leave first. Who do you say is the turtle grandson? You old turtle, Zhang Zizai cursed. Feng Xiaoao said innocently, I didn't say you are a turtle grandson. So Zhang Zizai also said innocently, Then I didn't say you are an old turtle. Both of them laughed. Everyone knew who they were scolding. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 252. Under Xian Kang's gloomy eyes, Zhang Zizai and Feng Xiaoao left Xuanhuan Hall in a swaggering manner. The humiliation and misery in Xuanhuan Hall today is just a reappearance of Xiaoao Hall in the past. This is karma. Looking at Xian Kang's face full of murderous intent, you can tell how much he dotes on his descendants. Now that Xian Ye has lost his arm, he will definitely not give up. But so what? According to Feng Xiaoao's attitude, when others bully you, you have to confront them head-on, otherwise how can you be worthy of those around you? Repay kindness when there is kindness, and take revenge when there is hatred. Don't worry, this is Shenzong. You have a Hong-level totem. He really can't do anything to you, Feng Xiaoao said. Speaking of which, you helped me get out of my bad mood today. Thank you. Thanks are enough, what about that? Zhang Zizi asked with a smile. Ah, I still can't escape. Forget it, here it is, take it for a while and think about it. Don't make yourself look different and lose my face. He probably also had the space jade pendant, so he casually took out a secret book with the words Xiaoao written on it. This is a body technique. Zhang Zizai packed up and the two returned to Xiaoao Hall. Li Taking, who had been defeated by Zhang Zizai before, finally found the Holy God's attendant, but when he saw the Holy God's attendant and Zhang Zizai coming back with their arms around each other, his heart skipped a beat. Ah, he was speechless. Li Taking, what are you moaning about? Get out of the way and don't block the road, Feng Xiaoao said. I'm leaving first. Zhang Zizai acted as if nothing had happened. He missed the anxious Li Taking and walked away directly. Feng Xiaoao ignored him and disappeared in front of him in a few steps. Those who do evil, those who are mean-mouthed, and those who have evil intentions will eventually be punished. When he returned to his residence, the 9 immortals were still practicing. In fact, she became extremely serious after returning here. Maybe she also wants to break through the shackles of fate. Zhang Zizai came back quietly, without disturbing her, and without telling her what he had just experienced. He carefully opened Xiaoao and began to study. This is a high-grade moon-level battle technique, which is generally most effective when practiced at the peak of the holy body realm. This is a practice method that combines the attributes of wind and water. Many people can only control one of them, but Zhang Zizai can fully control it. Wonderful! In Xiaoao, a fish called Kun is introduced, which can transform into a rock and soar into the sky. Isn't this Nangong Shuiying's mutated totem? Kun and Peng are one body. Therefore, Xiaoao has Kun swimming in the water, smooth and changeable, unpredictable. It seems to be right in front of you, but it can entangle and dodge. No one can catch it with its smooth appearance. It is also like a rock, flying rapidly, showing terrifying speed, walking in all directions. This is the perfect combination of water and wind. The lightning storm in my hand is equivalent to a moon-level battle technique. Coupled with this unpredictable escape, which is as difficult to catch as a loach, I can surpass my peers in terms of movement skills. This was Feng Xiaoao's specialty when he was young. He was willing to pass it on to Zhang Zizai because he valued him. Therefore, Zhang Zizai practiced Xiaoao in this courtyard during the day, while drawing the glow talisman. He had been studying the glow talisman for a long time, and in the next month, he finally succeeded in drawing the first glow talisman. The totem talisman master fights with a talisman in one hand and a magic weapon in the other, which is indeed terrifying. After a month of training, his Xiaoao has taken initial shape. For more than a year, he has never fallen behind in the practice of Taixi universe soul refining art. His soul has grown unprecedentedly. He has sunk very deep in the river of time. He estimates that it will not be long before it is possible for the heavenly spirit realm to progress to a more advanced realm. As for the night time, of course, it is to absorb the starlight in the sky, guide the starlight to exercise the power of the starry dragon on the muscles of the body, and put the stars in the sky into the muscles of the body, so that all the muscles in the body are covered with stars. It was as if every particle in the body had been replaced by black star particles. The stars formed a divine dragon entrenched in his body, the death god Nether Dragon's true energy gathered within it, and with the help of the 9 Immortals, under such conditions, his cultivation speed was still soaring. To be honest, it would be difficult for Lu Dingxing and the others to catch up with Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai often goes out to look for them, especially the Ling and Mushen palaces. Because he was afraid that Ruo Xiaoyu and the others would not be used to it. Xiaoyu also often runs here. She walks a lot and the distance is not too far. Everyone often comes to Zhang Zizai's side and plays around for a few days before going back. They have all made great progress since coming here. From the time they arrived to the present, they have made great progress. Among them, Lu Dingxing's speed is quite good. With the 2 weapons, his combat power at the 6th level of the mysterious vein realm can now challenge the 7th or even 8th level of the mysterious vein realm of a heavenly totem. It is impossible to compare with Zhang Zizi, but they can take their time and have a bright future. A total of 2 months after he completed the holy body realm, his Xiaoyu had completed his training. Feng Xiaoyu came to check and were all touched by Zhang Zizai's talent. The most important thing is that after 2 months of starlight training, the muscles all over his body are now covered with starlight. After the skin all over his body, the muscles that occupy most of the body have been successfully tempered. He has successfully entered the 2nd level of the holy body realm. Heavy. In fact, the 2nd level of the holy body realm is much stronger than the 1st level. When all the muscles in the body are forged into the holy body, at least half of the body is already a holy body. The strength of the muscles itself is an important part of the strength of the body. In the darkness, Zhang Zizai was surrounded by starlight, and those black starlights showed a head of dragon totem in his body. At this time, he should be said to be quite terrifying. After he made a high-profile appearance in the Xuanhuan Hall, he immediately entered the state of cultivation, saw no one, and disappeared again. The difficulty of the holy body realm is not very great, especially with the sun, moon, and star holy dragon body forging technique. You only need to practice every day. However, it will only get slower and slower in the future. It may take more than 2 years to reach the peak of the holy body realm. According to the content of this technique, he estimated this result. The next 3rd level is to forge bones. The bones are inside the body and it is difficult for starlight to shine, so it will be more difficult. He estimated that the time to complete it will definitely be longer than the previous 2 times. Calm down and take your time. My speed is much faster than others. After all, those sons of gods have been practicing for 10 years, and there is no comparison. That night, Juxian whispered, "Do you know what is special about my totem?" Zhang Zizai said expectantly, "You tell me. I can use all the evolution sources, and there is no need to adapt them. All the evolution sources are adapted to me. I have countless evolution directions," she said proudly. "Bullshit, you think I'm easy to fool? I'll kiss you to death." Zhang Zizai laughed dumbly. She actually fooled herself. How could such a totem exist in the world? Bullshit, absolutely bullshit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 253. Based on the current situation, Zhang Zizai set a goal for himself to catch up with the sons of the Origin Shen sect within 2 years. This is actually tough. Even if it takes 2 years, he can cultivate to the peak of the holy body realm. but the key point is that they are also Hong-level totems, and they are also growing rapidly. In 2 years, they may grow to a higher realm. Above the Shen zone, there are people who break through to new realms every day, and it is not him who is making progress. However, he does have confidence that his growth rate will actually exceed that of the sons of God. After all, he still has the 9 immortals to protect him. To be honest, since his cultivation till now, the effect of his dual cultivation with the 9 immortals should have increased his overall cultivation speed by 30%. If he hadn't put so much thought into the talisman, it would have been even stronger. However, the talisman is a long-term plan. He has the inheritance of the life and death talisman section. If he doesn't make good use of it now, he will definitely regret it in the future. It's just that it's too expensive to draw talismans, and now he is really so poor that he doesn't even have any spiritual stones. He knew that the 9 immortals were rich, but how could a man ask for money from a woman? She was just a freeloader, so he came to the Qingtian temple next door and found Bai Shenjin, who had made a fortune on the divine luck day, and got straight to the point. Brother, money is a bit tight recently. I have to buy some talisman paper and talisman ink. Can it be convenient for me to borrow some money to spend? When Bai Shenjin heard this, he was shocked and said, "No, talking about money between brothers hurts feelings. I have already spent most of this money on picking up girls." Zhang Zizai was ready to beat up this stingy guy and rob him. "Brother, I was just joking." Seeing that Zhang Zizai was about to come up and grab him, he quickly gave in and said, "That's not right. You are a totem talisman master. I sold the talisman on your body and got a big spiritual stone, then buy the materials and draw the talisman, and it will snowball. You can buy whatever weapons you want and pick up whatever girls you want. In the Beast God Palace, is there a place where talismans can be sold?" Zhang Zizai vaguely knew that there was a place called Bailitianja. There are many things to buy. Those shops were all opened by people from the Shen zone, either quasi-godly attendants, or directly divine attendants, and some were older high-level priests. But in Bailitianja, you can basically only buy it. How can you sell it if you don't have a store? Bai Shenjin said, "Don't worry, I've already asked you about it. There are many talisman shops that accept talismans. I'll take you to one with a better reputation." He grew up on the streets of Yanlongxiu. His parents were businessmen, so he easily became familiar with Bailitianja. Zhang Zizai still has a lot of soul-soothing charms on him that can be sold. They left the Qingtian Palace and arrived at Bailitianja a quarter of an hour later. This was simply a street shrouded in clouds and mist. It was not an exaggeration to say it was a heavenly street. Although it was not 100 miles away, it was at least 10 miles away. There are various shops on both sides of the 10-mile street. This is Shenzong's commercial base, and Shenzong's priests basically spend their money here. Everything from all over the world is sold here. It is said that whether it is spiritual mines, elixirs or various rare treasures, you can buy them here, not to mention talismans and totem weapons. Everything is clearly priced. However, things are rare, and good things must be very expensive. There are even some high-end shops that sell evolutionary sources. The quantity is definitely very small and hard to come by. In addition, there are actually some clothes, daily necessities, and so on. It seems that the 9 immortals have come here often before. She hasn't come here much recently, probably because she doesn't want to face those strange looks. Zhang Zizai passed by a very beautiful clothing store. There was a very beautiful skirt at the door. It was a great test for one's figure. Zhu Xian would definitely be able to wear it beautifully. "Brother, this is top-notch silk fabric. The silkworms are fed with elixirs and are painted with totem patterns. They are absolutely impervious to water and fire. They only require 1004 levels of spiritual stones. Do you consider it?" a young man in his 20s asked with a smile at the door. Bai Shenjin was frightened and fainted, and said, Why don't you go and grab it? It's just a piece of clothing and it costs 1004 grade spiritual stones. You don't understand the goods. This is the work of the top designer from mainland China. It's called a Chong Sam. Give it to the person you like. She will definitely fall in love with you. What do you think? Do you consider it? The young man asked. Don't fool me, it's worth at most 34th grade spiritual stones. When Bai Shenjin said this, the young man became a little angry and sneered, if you can't afford it, get out and don't block my customers. This is the style that was just launched today. There is only one in the entire Shenzhen. Zhang Zizai took a few more glances and realized that it was indeed beautiful. 9 immortals would definitely like it. However, he turned around and left because he had no money. Boss, don't be like this villain, Bai Shenjin said. Haha, Zhang Zizai smiled. Bai Shenjin was completely confused as to what he meant. In fact, he was thinking about how happy the 9 immortals would be when they saw this dress. That woman just likes her beauty and the way she confuses all sentient beings. In a blink of an eye, Fubao Pavilion arrived. The store was very large, very grand, and looked very authoritative. Standing at the door was a young man in green clothes, an ordinary priest. When he saw the 2 young people arriving, he knew that he had little spending power, but he still asked, do you 2 want to buy talismans? Bai Shenjin said, no, he is here to sell. Are you a totem talisman master? We don't accept Chen level talismans. The young man shook his head. Not Chen level. If the quantity is small, I won't accept it. There are 100. After hearing 100, the young man thought for a moment and said, okay, I'll take you to see Senior Sister Su. After entering, the decoration inside was very simple and quaint. Zhang Zizai saw at a glance that there were many talismans inside, and of course there were also various materials such as pens, ink, paper, and inkstones that talisman masters needed. There were several priests entertaining guests. They came to sell, so they entered a special side hall. In the side hall, a woman was lazily lying on a recliner. She was wearing extremely revealing clothes, revealing a large area of snow-white skin. Her surging figure was really blood-spurting. Senior Sister Su, they are here to sell talismans, the priest said, then lowered his head and retreated, not daring to look more. Wow, the hot figure of this woman made Bai Shenjin couldn't help but exclaim. At this time, she had stood up. She was really a tall and slender woman, about the same age as Juxian, like a ripe red apple, gentle as water. She glanced at Zhang Zizai and the other man and said, you 2 young guys, are you here to play a trick on me? Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 254. She doesn't mind others looking at her hot figure. It's her asset, but she likes to show it off and see the obsessed eyes of these teenagers. Bai Shenjin was caught in the trick, but Zhang Zizai was indifferent after seeing someone more beautiful. He directly took out 100 soul-suppressing talismans, slapped them on the table, and said, this is a star-level soul-suppressing talisman, a total of 100. Take a look. Soul Talisman. When she heard the name, her face was obviously shaken. Is it rare? Zhang Zizai asked with a smile. Su Ying smiled charmingly and said, that's not true. It's quite common. Zhang Zizai smiled, he knew it was actually rare, her first expression had already stated it. As for why it is said to be common, it is a means of negotiating business. Do you want to take it? Zhang Zizai asked. Su Ying stepped forward. She gently held the full part of her breasts on the table, picked up the soul-calling talisman and looked at it carefully. She saw that the eyes of the 2 young men were staring straight at her confident breasts. Position, she laughed in her heart, these 2 little guys actually came up with such a treasure, they must make a lot of money today. Want to know the effect? Another card appeared in Zhang Zizai's hand, and he said, this one can be used, and you won't be charged for it. Su Ying's realm must be very strong, after all, her qualifications are here. She was about to speak, but she never expected that Zhang Zizai, who had suffered 1,000 cuts with his quick eyesight and quick hands, would cover her head with a soul-calming talisman. Didn't I promise that I would be kind to her? Didn't you agree that you would be tempted by your own figure? What's the matter with killing the first talisman directly? Su Ying was stunned, and her soul was tingling for a moment. The feeling was too uncomfortable. She knew very well how troublesome it was to hit this soul-suppressing talisman during the battle. The effect is not bad, let me give you a price, Zhang Zizai said straightforwardly. Only then did Su Ying realize that this guy was difficult to deal with, but Bai Shenjin next to her was easier to deal with. He stared at her pride with his eyes, and her saliva was almost drooling. She pretended to be a little disgusted and said, "It's not a good thing. Just take 24th grade spiritual stones for one piece." Bai Shenjin narrowed his eyes. He didn't know that this woman's appearance was her way of negotiating business. He pretended to be obsessed and said directly, "Senior Sister Su is so good at joking. Rune Pavilion has offered us 200. We all want to think about the 4th grade spiritual stone. We came here to ask about the situation. I didn't expect that Senior Sister Su was not sincere at all. Boss, let's go. I was wrong. I told you that Senior Sister Su is too beautiful. If I sell it to her, maybe I will. I can still get a few more glimpses of beauties." He looked regretful. Su Ying said quickly, "Okay, I'm kidding you. 200 is just 200. 100 pieces total 24,000 grade spiritual stones. It's a deal. You get what you pay for with this soul-suppressing talisman. I can't do it if it's too high. If you accept it, you will lose money." Seeing her beaming face, Bai Shenjin hated it, because he knew that agreeing so readily meant that the price still had room to go up, at least 400. Zhang Zizai was already amazed. If he didn't bring Bai Shenjin with him, he would have sold it for 20. How could he get 200? Su Ying was very happy and quickly collected all the talismans. Then he took out 200 6th grade spiritual stones and said, 20,000 4th grade spiritual stones are too many. I give you 200 6th grade spiritual stones, which are equivalent. Now that the deal was done, Zhang Zizai simply accepted it. "Little brother, are you a totem talisman master?" Su Ying glanced at Zhang Zizai's figure. He had a delicate appearance. He was simply a killer of women at Su Ying and Zhu Xian's age. Su Ying couldn't bear this fresh feeling. I took a few more glances. Zhang Zizai nodded. "Come here often. My sister is in the Silver Fox Palace of the Divine Beast Palace. She often comes to see me. I can guide you in your cultivation." She smiled charmingly and gave a hint. Zhang Zizai patted Bai Shenjin on the head and said, "Did you hear that? Silver Fox Palace, go find Senior Sister Su more often. I will have to ask Senior Sister Su for help with my future talismans." In Su Ying's eyes, he was even more interesting. "By the way, what are your names?" "Me, Bai Shenjin. Isn't it cool?" What about him? Unfortunately, Su Ying obviously only cared about Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai. It's a good name. At this point, she suddenly reacted and said in surprise, "You are the one who got the 5th level evolution source on the Divine Luck Day." Zhang Zizai nodded. "You went to Xuanhuan Hall and broke Xianye's arm." Zhang Zizai also nodded. A celebrity. She suddenly remembered that he was rumored to be the forbidden love of the 9 Immortals, the pretty boy she raised. Her face instantly became depressed. A famous lady has her own plans, so she could only put her thoughts away and said, "Yes, she is very talented, and she is a talisman master. I guess no one knows about it. By the way, do you still need materials today? Once you know his identity, you can only treat him as an ordinary guest. After all, She knew in her heart that there was no comparison between her and the 9 immortals. No wonder this young man didn't react to her at all. He has the 9 immortals, so no woman in the world would be interested. That is the alluring fairy. I do need to. Zhang Ziyu followed her into the depths of the Fubao pavilion. Bai Shenjin was waiting outside. He purchased thousands of talisman papers and a large amount of talisman ink, all of which were of very high quality and grade, able to fully utilize the effects of the glow talisman. This has already cost more than 36th grade spiritual stones. These materials transformed in his hands and could be sold for dozens of times the value immediately. The materials had just been selected when there was a sudden noise outside, as if someone was fighting. Who is it, making trouble in my Fubao pavilion? You want to die? Su Ying was slightly angry and walked out with Zhang Zizai. Zhang Zizai didn't care much at first, but after coming out, he saw that the person who was beaten was Bai Shenjin. He was rolling on the ground now. He had just gotten up, and there was already a slap mark on his face. Half of his face was swollen. Obviously, the other party hit him very hard. He was a little stunned and said to the person opposite, "Why did you hit me? Who told you not to look at the road when you walk?" "I didn't hit you, so I asked you to bump into me." The person who spoke was a young girl, wearing a light golden skirt, very beautiful. "Wouldn't it be enough for you to remind me? Do you need to be so cruel?" Bai Shenjin was stunned. "Say another word, I didn't expect the woman to be so arrogant." Bai Shenjin just talked back, and she rushed over again, obviously wanting to slap him. Is the threshold of the divine sect getting lower and lower? At this age, you can come here at only a few levels of the mysterious vein realm. The girl's face was full of contempt. Today's 4th chapter is finished. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 255. She was probably a big level higher than Bai Shenjin. When she started, Bai Shenjin couldn't stop him at all. The gap is just like the gap between adults and young children. It is absolutely crushing. However, the girl did not expect that someone would appear in front of her at a faster speed, grab her hand directly, and then swing her fiercely, spinning her around several times and almost falling to the ground. "Who?" The girl stood still and stared at Zhang Zizai with extremely cold eyes. This girl is indeed good-looking, youthful, and lively, but a bit arrogant. Beside her, Zhang Zizai also saw an acquaintance. It was Xuanhuan, whose arm was crippled by him. There was only an empty sleeve on his right arm, which said everything. Zhang Zizai, after seeing him, Xuanhuan's eyes were completely blood red. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. The girl immediately entered a state of hatred, stared at Zhang Zizai, and said, "Is this the person who crippled your arm?" "Chiu, that's him." Xuanhuan couldn't forget it even in his dreams. He has thought of countless ways to take revenge, but he hasn't implemented them yet. "I will avenge you today," the woman named Chiu said solemnly. "No, no one is allowed to fight in my Fubao pavilion." "If you want to fight, go out," Su Ying said quickly. Zhang Zizai was too lazy to pay attention to them. He took a look at the injuries on Bai Shenjin's face. He took out a glow talisman and put it on Bai Shenjin's face. The swelling on his face disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, it was intact as before. "What kind of talisman is this? It's amazing. I feel so refreshed," Bai Shenjin said. He glanced at the girl named Chiyu and then said, "I just feel a little unhappy." "Then let me vent your anger," Zhang Zizai said, and then said to the woman, "Generally speaking, I don't hit women casually, but you bullied the weak and innocently beat my brother. Today I will teach you a lesson. Get out." Bar. This woman is obviously a couple with Xuanhuan, but what's interesting is that she seems to be stronger than Xuanhuan. "You want to challenge me?" Chiyu sneered and said, "Then get out." Bai Shenjin suddenly stopped Zhang Zizai and said, "Boss, I know her, she seems to be at the 4th level of the holy body realm. She is stronger than this Xuanhuan, but she has only been in this realm for 2 months. The two of them might have been in similar realms originally. If Xuanhuan hadn't made Zhang Zizai lose his arm, he would have reached the 4th level of the holy body realm, and he could be regarded as a high-level genius in the Shen zone. Qi Yu made a declaration of war and went out first. Are you sure? Bai Shenjin asked. He knew that Zhang Zizai had dealt with Xuanhuan. Half of it Zhang Zizai didn't look down on others. It's not worthwhile for you to defeat her today, Bai Shenjin said. What's the meaning? Do you know about the Beast God Tower? She is the 97th ranked priest in the Star Beast God Tower. You have to challenge her under the Beast God Tower. If you defeat her there, you can get her ranking and training resources. In the Beast God Tower, practicing in the God Tower will definitely get twice the result with half the effort. Beast God Tower, Zhang Zizai had not studied it. It's okay, you listen to me. I'll go out and talk to them, Bai Shenjin said. After coming out, the fish in the pond were already in formation. Bai Shenjin said directly, we won't fight today. He will go to the Beast God Tower to challenge you in a few days. There is no benefit in defeating you here. Hearing this, Qi Yu smiled. You're probably scared. But, you said in public that you were going to challenge me, but you didn't go when the time came. How do you count? Zhang Zizai smiled and said, if I hadn't gone, I would have called you grandma in public. Who wants to be your grandma? Qi Yu became angry. Instead of being a grandma, do you want to be a daughter-in-law? Zhang Zizai asked. Zhang Zizai, Xuanhuan was angry, this was his wife. I also have something important to do today. Let's do this. I will go to the Beast God Tower to find you tomorrow. If I don't go, I will be the grandson of you too, okay? After Zhang Zizai said this, he took Bai Shenjin away directly. It sounds like something very important indeed. Will he come tomorrow? Qi Yu asked. Xuanhuan sneered, that's not necessarily the case. Unless he finds a way to defeat you tonight. He obviously gave in after knowing your strength. It's okay. He has already boasted so much. If he doesn't come by then, let's see how embarrassed he is. Qi Yu looked around. At least hundreds of people had heard their conversation, and it would definitely spread. The first reason why Zhang Zizai left in a hurry was because although Bai Shenjin was slapped, he was not angry enough to ask Zhang Zizai to avenge him on the spot. It was he who suggested that Zhang Zizai go to the Beast God Tower to challenge her. The second reason is because he does have important matters. Very important. What are you so anxious about? Bai Shenjin asked confused. Just as he said hello, he found himself standing in a familiar place, the clothing store. The young man was still standing at the door. He glanced at Zhang Zizai and smiled coldly. The skirt is still there. Your first priority is to buy a dress, Bai Shenjin was confused. She likes limited editions the most, and she can't let others buy them. This is simply a deceptive price, Bai Shenjin was depressed. However, Zhang Zizai took out 10 6th-grade spiritual stones, which made the young man immediately smile. Wrap it up for me, Zhang Zizai said. Yes, yes, you are rich, you are the boss. I am the one who looks down on others. He really didn't expect that someone would buy it at this price. It seems that the person you like is very happy. You are a person with aesthetic taste, the young man praised while sorting. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Do you know who I am? Zhang Zizai smiled. Your Excellency, the young man was shocked. Did he almost offend a person with a strong background? My name is Zhang Zizai. He took the skirt and turned around and left with Bai Shenjin. Zhang Zizai, who is it? The young man frowned and was suddenly shocked. It's that person, so he gave this skirt to. Her appearance is really amazing with this skirt, but it's a pity that she can't wear it for long. Boss, don't I need to tell you about the Beast God Tower, Bai Shenjin said anxiously on the way. No need to say, come to me tomorrow. You value women over friends, everyone knows that he is in a hurry to go back and show his courtesy. As a result, Zhang Zizai ran very fast and dumped him directly. When Zhang Zizai handed the item to Juxian and asked her to open it in front of him, she was moved to tears when she saw that it was such a gift. In my 2 lives, no man has ever given me clothes. You are so kind, wow. Seeing her so happy, Zhang Zizai felt very accomplished. He had to give her what she liked most. She was not interested in swords, spears, and halberds. In a blink of an eye, she put it on and swayed like a willow in front of Zhang Zizai. This cheongsam really set off her figure perfectly. It was really convex and curvy, with straight and slender thighs. Her whole body was full of endless temptation. What do you want to do now? Juxian bit her lower lip and looked at him in a daze. It's a bit contradictory. I just bought it for you, but now I want to tear it up, Zhang Zizai said. Juxian thought about it and said, forget it. Your life now is not as important as this dress. Zhang Zizai was petrified on the spot. In fact, he knew that it was because he gave it to her that it was particularly meaningful. Perhaps it was the most important thing in her life. The two of them were entangled and played for a long time. At night, Zhang Zizai held her and looked at the stars in the sky. Suddenly, he asked, by the way, what is the Beast God Tower? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 256. I was just about to tell you that starting tomorrow, challenge the Beast God Tower as a mission, Juxian said softly. Why? You will know if you have seen the Beast God Tower. It has 100 floors in total. The top floor of the Beast God Tower is where all the worshippers look up. The ceiling on the top floor is a 10th grade spiritual mine, the Sky Crystal. Carved, the Day Crystal can absorb the essence of heaven and earth, including the endless vitality of heaven and earth. Most importantly, it can also absorb the brilliance of the sun, moon, and stars. If you can stay on the top floor, your cultivation in the holy body realm, the speed is increased by at least 10 times. Celestial Stone. Zhang Zizai had never heard of it, but he knew that the 10th grade spiritual mine was the most precious spiritual mine in the world, and it was many times more valuable than their own spiritual stone. Even if it is used to forge weapons, what comes out is the top-notch totem weapon. The ceiling on the top floor of the Beast God Tower is actually made of transparent sky crystal. This is the foundation of the Shen sect. The sky crystal can absorb all the essence of heaven and earth, including gathering a large amount of the vitality of heaven and earth at the top of the Beast God Tower. At the same time, its ability to absorb the light of the sun, moon, and stars is also very strong. I once visited it. That floor can be said to be the most beautiful place in the entire Shen zone. There is a sky crystal above your head. It seems to have captured the entire starry sky, making you feel that the stars, rivers, and moon in the sky are like. The same goes for the top of the head. It is also the place closest to the sky besides the origin divine pillar. It is the reward given by the Shen zone to the most talented priests. This top level can increase my holy body realm cultivation speed by 10 times, Zhang Zizai asked in shock. The effect of the sky crystal is very suitable for you, and since it is high enough, it is really possible. You don't believe me, she said aggrievedly. Of course I believe it. Tell me clearly, what is going on with this Beast God Tower? How can I get up there? No wonder Bai Shenjin made it cost-effective for him to go to the Beast God Tower to challenge Qiyu. It turns out that this Beast God Tower is so important. The 9 Immortals began to introduce, there are 3 Beast God Towers in the Beast God Palace, which are named Star, Moon, and Sun. There is no difference between the three. They are just classified into primary, intermediate, and advanced levels respectively. Sacrifice. You can only challenge the Star Beast God Tower before you turn 18. Zhang Zizai understood that this was for the sake of fairness. It is unfair to compare a person who has cultivated to 24 years old with a person who is 14 years old in terms of combat power, so they must be distinguished. He is now a junior priest and only needs to pay attention to the Star Beast God Tower. The Beast God Tower has a total of 100 floors. As long as the priests meet the age, anyone can challenge it. Of course, the prerequisite is to pass the assessment of the tower guarding divine attendant. The entire Beast God Tower, no matter what time it is, has 100 floors. It is full. These 100 people are the top 100 geniuses in the entire Beast God Palace. The higher the tower level, the more diverse the talents. The top floors of the 3 Beast God Towers are all headed by sons of God or goddesses. Occupied. The rules of the challenge are that you only need to defeat the opponent on a certain tower level, and his tower level will belong to you from now on. Can I directly challenge the top? Then he will be exhausted, and there will be people challenging him every day, Zhang Zizai asked. Of course it's impossible. If you are not a priest with a ranking in the Beast God Tower, you can only choose to challenge from the 1st to the 9th floor for the first challenge. If you have a ranking in the Advanced Beast God Tower, you can only choose it for the second challenge. The 10th floor to the 19th floor. By analogy, if you want to challenge the top of the tower, you need to challenge it about 10 times in succession. Of course, your current strength can only challenge the first 10 levels. If you succeed, you can move in. Beast God Tower, I practiced in the Beast God Tower. Zhang Zizai smiled and said, everyone wants to enter this Beast God Tower. Those on the 1st to 9th floors will be challenged every day. That's not true. First of all, everyone in the Beast God Tower can only be challenged once in half a month. Second, the Tower Guardian will test the challenger's strength. Only the Tower Guardian believes that the challenger is likely to succeed. Let's go. 99% of people can't pass the level of Tower Guard. The Tower Guardian God Attendant is actually a normal God Attendant, but he is assigned the task of managing the Beast God Tower. This Beast God Tower is quite interesting. There are distinct levels of genius. However, as long as it is not the top, what good is it? Is it just a false name? Of course not. There are sky crystals on every floor of the Beast God Tower, but they are not on the ceiling, but on the windows. The higher you go up, the bigger the sky crystals are, and the more heaven and earth energy is gathered. Even if it is the first level of the Beast God Tower, and the training environment is 30% higher than what we have here. At about the 50 level, it may be able to achieve 4 times the effect of ours. Of course, I am referring to your cultivation in the holy body realm, because you are here. It's because of the special method that there is such a huge increase. Speaking of which, there are advantages to occupying a pit in this Beast God Tower. I don't want to challenge, I want to practice with you here, Zhang Zizai said. Fool Juxian laughed after hearing this. She pinched Zhang Zizai's face and said, are you so obsessed with my gentle land? You are a fool if you don't indulge, Zhang Zizai said. Then what if I said, if you can practice there, I can secretly go in and accompany you, Juxian said with a smile. How is that possible? Zhang Zizai obviously didn't believe it. I'll tell you some good news. She leaned into Zhang Zizai's ear and whispered softly, my brother passed the exam and became the divine attendant. He will be the Tower Guardian divine attendant for 1 year. The Star Beast God who just went yesterday taught, if he hadn't gone, I would have let you go. So that's it? This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Is he so powerful? Juxian lowered his head and said, actually, it's my fault. If it weren't for me, he would have been a divine servant long ago. I can almost reach the realm of a divine servant, but I don't know if it makes sense for me to become a divine servant. Please stop talking nonsense, of course it makes sense. She just felt that time was running out, and becoming a divine servant seemed useless. But Zhang Zizai hated her most for losing hope for the future. He held her shoulders and shook her, saying, "Don't be so sad. If you continue like this, I'll take back your skirt. If you dare, I'll break your neck." She was immediately anxious and forgot about the divine spell. After laughing for a while, Zhang Zizai said, "Xianye has a girlfriend named Chiu. She had some conflicts with me today. She seems to be the 97th in the Beast God Tower, which is on the 4th floor. I will challenge her tomorrow." "You are good. You cut off someone's arm and beat his girlfriend," Juxian said. "The first 10 floors were just a springboard." He really wanted to go to the highest point of the Beast God Tower to see what the scene would be like with the stars all over the sky. "One day, I will take you under the starry sky to see what a beautiful scene it would be with the stars all over the sky," Zhang Zizai said with great ambition. "Then don't you do something exciting," she bit her red lips lightly, revealing her pink tongue, her eyes blurred, her face full of charm, and the fragrance all over her body was really unbearable. Can't I do it?" Zhang Zizai said with a stiff face. He felt that he was really a cabbage recently, and Juxian, the pig, was eyeing his body. However, thinking about doing something under the dazzling stars, it was indeed very romantic. However, Zhang Zizai felt that the geniuses of the Beast God Palace were really a bit perverted. Chiu is at the 4th level of the Saint Body realm, and is only at the 4th floor. What kind of monsters are those at the 100th floor? When will I be able to challenge the top floor? Then, fulfill the dream of doing something interesting under the starry sky. Don't think too much. The next day, he and Bai Shenjing came to the Beast God Tower. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 257. The Divine Sect is very big. Even the Beast God Palace is very big. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow circled M. However, the total number of people in the entire Divine Sect is not as many as the number of people in the great Zhongqing city. A divine palace, hundreds of divine servant, tens of thousands of disciples, all of whom are geniuses from all over the origin continent. So the circle here is actually very small. Zhang Zizai got the 5th level evolution source. He was with the divine spellcaster. He challenged the Xuanhuan palace to defeat Xianye, and even made an appointment with Chiu to fight in the Beast God Tower, which would easily spread and attracted the attention of many people. On weekdays, they are practicing competition. For disciples, the ranking of the Beast God Tower is actually the most important goal of practice. As long as you get on the Beast God Tower, you will have more abundant practice resources, and geniuses will snowball and become more and more talented. If you are always at the bottom, you will be slower and slower until you are completely left behind by your peers and eventually have to leave the divine sect. Among tens of thousands of geniuses, competing for the top 100 is everyone's dream, the supreme honor, the guarantee of the future, and the only way to rise, but not everyone is qualified to compete. For example, Bai Shenjin and his friends are still in the middle of the Xuanmei realm, and they are also 15 or 16 years old. Their current talents are at the bottom of the entire Shen zone. It is difficult to become a divine servant in the future and stay here forever. However, Zhang Zizai does have a chance. And his goal is still very ambitious. When he stepped into the Beast God battlefield, he came for the top floor of the Beast God Tower. In order to be able to do the most romantic things on the top floor. When he saw the Beast God Tower that soared into the sky, his goal was set. The 100-story tower is indeed magnificent. There are countless beast sculptures around the tower wall, which is very magnificent. Even on each floor of the tower, there is a floor master name. For example, The fourth floor has a plaque with the words pond fish, indicating that this is her territory. To be honest, she had only recently fought her way up there. It was said that the first 10 floors had very big changes, and it was normal for some people to leave after staying for less than 2 days. The challenge venue was a huge flat base under the Beast God Tower, called the Beast God Battlefield. The newly promoted 9 gods stayed in the Beast God Battlefield every day. Almost every day, a large number of worshippers accepted his test, but most of them failed. Zhang Zizai was now a celebrity in the Beast God Palace. Many people had not seen his true face. When they heard that he was going to challenge the Beast God Tower, many worshippers came here early in the morning, and there were also several gods on the high platforms around. This Zhang Zizai, his luck is indeed against the sky. But he likes someone he shouldn't like. What will happen if luck and bad luck are mixed together? Interesting, it makes people look forward to his ending. This boy got the 5th level evolution source just after coming up from below. Maybe he feels favored by the ancient gods. It is said that he is very arrogant and flamboyant. He doesn't show mercy to others. He even dares to offend the holy god servant Qian Kang. I think he may not be arrogant for too long. There are indeed many people who don't know the height of the world. They come up and think they are still the peerless genius they used to be. In the end, they know that there are mountains outside the mountains and heavens outside the heavens. It's too late to regret it then. He is not young, with a top-level totem, and his realm is not too high. There are many people with more talents than him on the Beast God Tower. Maybe today, he knows how humble he is. Zhang Zizai hasn't come yet, but people are already discussing it heatedly. When the black-clothed boy appeared in the Beast God Battlefield, all eyes were on him for a while. The 4 of Lu Dingxing, including Wanqian and Ruo Xiaoyu who came from Ling and Mu palaces, followed behind them. They also wanted to come and see the world. There are too many geniuses in the divine sect, and they are still a little confused. Not many people came to challenge today, and the first few were rejected by the divine servant Jushen. Jushen is the brother of the divine spellcaster. He killed many people back then. He must have a good relationship with Zhang Zizai, and he will definitely let him challenge directly. He has just become a divine servant. If he dares to be partial, isn't he afraid of being exiled again? While they were talking, Zhang Zizai had already appeared in front of the Jushen. He is Juxian's brother, but he has a strange temperament. From beginning to end, Zhang Zizai actually didn't say a few words to him. Duat Jushen was very straightforward. Zhang Zizai nodded, and without saying a word, he held the dragon ghost sword and killed him. The lightning storm cooperated with the Baidu sword control technique, and then played a few soul-soothing talismans. He actually used talismans. Is he a talisman master? It is said that he sold a lot of talismans to the Fubao Pavilion. No matter how Zhang Zizai attacked, Jushen could easily resolve it. He was indeed strong. Zhang Zizai turned his sword and used the Zhoulong sword technique. Everyone could see the power of the Zhoulong sword technique, which was indeed much stronger than other challengers. When the Zhoulong sword technique was displayed, Jushen had already stopped and said, "At present, you meet the challenge qualifications, but you need to show the image of you drawing this kind of talisman." No problem. Zhang Zizai played the image of his own drawing of the soul-suppressing talisman on the spot. In the image, he moved very quickly and the soul-suppressing talisman took shape. For this kind of challenge, you definitely cannot use the bought talismans, but if it is drawn by the totem talisman master himself, it is considered as part of his strength and can be used. Zhang Zizai also submitted the production process of the glowing talisman by the way, so he can use it openly in any future competitions. Pass the challenge. The information of the layer masters from the 1st to the 9th layer is here. Who do you want to challenge? Jushen took out a notebook with the information of 10 people on it. The 4th layer, Chiu. Zhang Zizai said without thinking. He really came for Chiu. Jushin was about to notify Chiu. At this moment, a woman jumped from the crowd to the beast god battlefield and said, "No need to notify him, I've been waiting for him for a long time." Not far behind her, Xianye was also there, looking at Zhang Zizai with a gloomy face. "Today, I will leave one of your arms," Chiu said with a gloomy face. Jushin was already standing by, and under the attention of everyone, they could start. Zhang Zizai smiled and said, "I'm not as rude as you, I just want to give you back the slap you gave my brother. Dream on. I didn't expect you to be a totem talisman master. I just saw that you are quite good in this area," Chiu said. "Oh, you two, no wonder she went to the Fubao pavilion. Stop talking nonsense, let's do it." What she held in her hand today was a totem weapon, which should also be of the moon level. It was a spear made of ice crystals, sharp and cold, emitting a surging cold air. The ground around it began to condense into ice. It seemed that the power of this totem weapon had a freezing effect. This totem weapon was called Ice Crystal Mysterious Spear. At the same time, Zhang Zizai had noticed that she was holding a talisman in her left hand. It seemed that she, a totem talisman master, had already mastered the fighting method. At least more than Zhang Zizai. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 258. Just before the war started, she had already attached 2 ice blue talismans to her body. The talismans spread and formed a transparent blue sphere around her body, protecting her inside. This seemed to be called water. Although the boundary talisman is a star-level talisman, it can obviously protect her from some damage during the battle. Apparently, she had heard that Zhang Zizai's death god Minglong was very angry. Seeing Qiyu's performance, most of the priests still had full confidence in him. Basically, few people can successfully challenge the beast god tower for the first time. Chiu can squeeze out the previous floor leader's position, which shows that she has enough capital to stay in the beast god tower. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Xianye was hit hard this time, and she would probably be thrown away. In this moment, the ice crystal mysterious spear and Zhang Zizai's long Yujian collided. The confrontation between the heavy sword and the ice crystal mysterious spear is a duel between strength and true energy. Zhang Zizai was 2 levels behind, but he was 1 level ahead of his opponent in terms of totem. The opponent was a wild level totem, the boundless goldfish totem. It looked like a small goldfish, but was actually very powerful. The lead in the totem brings Zhang Zizai's lead in the nature of his qi. In addition, his holy body is strong enough and is definitely stronger than his opponent's technique. In fact, in terms of strength, the gap between the two is not that big. Bang! In the collision of weapons, both were knocked away, almost evenly matched. Unexpectedly, this guy's small arms and legs are quite powerful. Sure enough, the most worthless thing about this Shenzong is a peerless genius. She was already very angry when she was repelled the first time. Now she charged forward ferociously, the spear in her hand piercing through. During the piercing, Zhang Zizai was enveloped in ice. Poseidon Spear. The secret of her fighting technique lies in the word penetration. This girl's fighting style is really fierce and cruel. He is already useless. If he can't keep up with you in the future, do you still want to be with him? Are your parents and elders asking you to continue to follow their family? Zhang Zizai felt relaxed and suddenly said with a smile. Invisibly, he suddenly launched a movement technique. At this time, he was more like a fish than the fish in the pond, soft and agile, and could not be touched at all. This beast god battlefield is like Zhang Zizai's sea. He transformed into a small fish and swims freely in it. The shark behind him bites fiercely, but it just can't touch him. This is Xiao, which comes from the control of water and wind, and Zhang Zizai has already mastered it. The opponent's aggressive style of play must have consumed a lot of energy, and it happened to be restrained by Zhang Zizai's mellow approach. That piercing spear couldn't even touch Zhang Zizai's hair. Shut up, Qiyu had difficulty controlling himself. Why don't you follow me from now on? I'm better than him, Zhang Zizai smiled. You bastard, stop talking nonsense, I'm going to cut out your tongue. Qiyu was furious. Zhang Zizai just stimulated her. To be honest, he didn't like her. But, does the fact that she is so angry mean that what Zhang Zizai said is true? Maybe, she doesn't like Xuanhuan that much, but her parents think they should be the golden boy. Hanhai talisman. She continued to play the talisman, and the talisman turned into a turbulent wave in the air, impacting towards Zhang Zizai. However, even this impact made Zhang Zizai dodge with his shameless movement. He was like a loach. I can't catch it at all. On the contrary, Zhang Zizai cast the soul-calming talisman in an instant, which directly sedated her soul, causing her to sting extremely and her condition deteriorated. Zhang Zizai saw that it was time, and directly used the dragon robbery sword technique. The three swords merged into one. He didn't kill anyone, but just flew her body away, and then slapped her in the face, causing her to fly several times in the air. The circle just landed. That harsh slap sound could be said to have spread far away. She is such a beauty. With such a slap, half of her face is red and swollen. Who wouldn't feel distressed after seeing her? Qiyu cried in pain, with tears all over his face. Now you know what it feels like to slap someone randomly, right? When she was about to stand up and fight back, Zhang Zizai's long yu sword was already at her throat. There was no doubt that she was defeated. Zhang Zizai, you are looking for death. At this moment, an angry Xuanhuan rushed up. Zhang Zizai glanced at him, suddenly kicked out, and kicked Xuanhuan away, and fell heavily to the ground. He couldn't crawl for a long time. Stand up. If you lose, you will lose. Why are you crying? As soon as he turned around, he saw Qiyu squatting on the ground and crying, extremely miserable. The slap had been returned to her. The grudge between Zhang Zizai and Xiankang's family had nothing to do with this fish in the pond. He dropped a glow talisman and said, take it away. Put it on your face to reduce swelling. Get out of here when you leave the beast god battlefield, please don't let me continue the challenge. You're up there, you won't be able to stay for a few days. Qiyu threw the glowing talisman on the ground and stepped on it, then picked up the ice crystal gun and ran away. She didn't even take it with her. She just got up from the ground. Xuanhuan. Just pay me back, it's all money. Zhang Zizai had a headache, so he picked up the glow talisman. Fortunately, he could still use it. To be honest, he had been using his physical skills to defeat Qiyu in the blink of an eye. Many people had not yet reacted. Zhang Zizai had successfully challenged and had the ranking of the Beast God Tower. Although they are only at the bottom and may be eliminated at any time, it is still an honor. How he won, I didn't even see clearly. Why did I hear that he was in the Xuanmei realm when he came? Qiyu is a totem master of the 4th level of the Holy Body realm, but he defeated him. I guess his realm is not actually very high, maybe around the 2nd or 3rd level of the Holy Body realm. The Lord God's servant said that Zhang Zizai's bones don't seem to be holy bodies, and he should be at the 2nd level. To be honest, his totem is really terrible. If he can catch up with his realm, he will have a bright future. It's a pity that he has to mix with a person of bad luck for no reason, which will only destroy himself. These discussions can't be stopped at all. In the sacrifice temple, Juxian is a popular person. But in this divine sect, she is the object of everyone's contempt, even if she has done nothing wrong. Fate and all living beings are unfair to her. The more this happens, the more Zhang Zizai wants to protect her. He was angry and said directly to Jushan, God's servant, I want to continue the challenge. This time I can choose the 10th to 19th levels, right? Jushan nodded. Let me see the list. Zhang Zizai picked up the second book and began to flip through it. Soon he saw a name and said, I want to challenge the 19th level, Xian Kong. The surname is Xian, and it is the Xuanhuan totem. It can be seen that he is a relative of Xian Kang. He actually wants to continue. He is so bold. He is really a high-profile person. He directly locked on Xian Kong. Is he really prepared? He has a conflict with Xian Kang's holy servant because of the matter of the divine spellcaster. I guess he is hostile to the Xian family. If he can defeat Xian Kong, he can replace Xian Kong's level, and Xian Kong will fall to the 4th level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 259. The rules of the Beast God Tower are as follows. Zhang Zizai is now the floor master of the 4th floor and belongs to the Beast God Tower. In the internal challenge of the Beast God Tower, the winner occupies the high position and the loser occupies the low position. The 4th floor and the 19th floor are fighting. If Zhang Zizai wins, he will be the 19th floor. Future challenges will still be based on the 10th floor as a range, and only adjacent ranges can be challenged. The 4th floor cannot directly challenge the 20th floor or above. Everyone challenges upwards. There is no meaning in challenging the same range. The cultivation resources in the same range are basically the same, unless for a higher ranking honor. Of course, the top 10 floors are different from each other. However, that is too far away for Zhang Zizai. His goal this time is to take down all the 4th level of the Holy Body Realm. Above the 20th floor, it is basically the 5th level of the Holy Body Realm. The following levels will come slowly. Let me take a look. Jushin still needs to check. If Xian Kong has been challenged within half a month, Zhang Zizai can only choose another challenge target. Generally speaking, in the same 10-layer range, the 9th floor is definitely stronger than the 1st floor. Xian Kong should be the overlord of the 2nd interval. If the bottom 10 want to move up, they usually choose the 10th or 11th floor. Not many people directly challenge the 19th floor. Xian Kong has not been challenged within half a month, so he can apply. He will get the news to fight within 3 days, Jushin said. This is the rule, but there are exceptions in special circumstances, such as being away on important business or at a special juncture of cultivation. No need, I'm here. Unexpectedly, as soon as Jushin finished speaking, a tall and strong young man came out of the crowd. He just helped Xianye up. In fact, Zhang Zizai estimated that this person was Xian Kong. He is older than Xianye, probably around 18 years old. He can't stay in the Beast God Tower for long. After 18 years old, he can only challenge the Moon Beast God Tower, but the Moon Beast God Tower is dominated by those between 23 and 25 years old. Just like the Star Beast God Tower is dominated by those between 15 and 18 years old. Xian Kong is the son of Xian Kang's younger brother. Xianye actually had to call him uncle. Xian Kang, the younger brother, was relatively young, so his son and Xian Kang's grandson were about the same age. He comforted Xianye before walking up, looking at Zhang Zizai calmly, and said, I was looking for an opportunity to vent Xianye's anger, but I didn't expect that you would come to me by chance. Then don't be so fussy, just start the fight. Hearing too many unfair words to Juxian, Zhang Zizai was now angry and needed to vent. No problem. Today I will make you understand that Shenzong is not a place where you can do whatever you want. There are too many people with miserable fates here, and you will soon be one of them. I think it's you. Zhang Zizai smiled coldly, suddenly raised the dragon ghost sword and killed him. Xian Kong's eyes were cold, and he also took action directly. Zhang Zizai just took a look. He was the wild level totem giant wood black tortoise totem, and his totem was also painted on it, which was a giant beast with a towering tree growing on a tortoise shell, half in plant form and half in beast form. It is said that he has a divine servant to guide him in the wood god palace. At this time, his body was actually changing. I saw that his skin suddenly became like tree bark, extremely rough and thick, and even branches grew out of his body, turning him into a huge tree man in an instant, with an extremely terrifying appearance. This is the characteristic of his totem, which is a bit similar to the panda's transformation of gods and demons. This is the biggest reliance for Xuanhuan to stay in the 19th floor. If his cultivation had not yet broken through to the 5th level of the holy body realm, he would have stepped into the 3rd interval, or even the 4th interval. Boom! His giant wood Xuanhu holy body, with the hardness of the tree and the protection of the Xuanhu's tortoise shell, is simply amazing in terms of defense, much stronger than the water realm talisman of the fish in the pond. This type of totem can be said to be quite effective. However, the reason why Zhang Zizai was sure of him was that although his defense was high and his strength was great, his movements were not agile enough. After Zhang Zizai practiced Xiao, he was so agile that he completely restrained him. His lonja sword was directly in the state of a light sword, extremely sharp. He challenged Xuanhuan without knowing his own limitations. This arrogant and high-profile person should come to an end. I remember that Feng Xiaoao, the Holy Spirit servant, was also like this. He was arrogant and high-profile, but he was hit hard and never recovered. Otherwise, with his talent, how could he be just a Holy Spirit servant until now? At that time, everyone said that he would be the next palace master of the Beast God Palace. Now, he is really far behind. You should stop talking about the Holy Spirit servant. They are all geniuses, so they are not used to seeing someone more arrogant than them. So in this battle, of course, they stand on Xuanhuan's side. In that incident, although that group of people did make mistakes, people are regretful. They regret that these people who can become the pillars of the divine sect in the future were killed by a divine spellcaster who should have died. Especially the son of God of the heavenly palace, Tianyuan, with his terrifying talent, he occupied the top floor of the heavenly god tower of the heavenly god palace since he was 11 years old, and died just like that. What a great hatred! Even the corpse was thrown off the sky island, smashed to pieces without leaving any residue. How could Zhang Zizai not be angry after hearing these words? Now, Xuanhuan had to bear all his anger. His most powerful fighting tactic is called the Shenkong seal. When the Shenkong seal is used, the air vibrates violently. If you are hit, your internal organs may be injured. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. This is actually a very brutal fighting tactic. Many people's internal organs are actually destroyed, but it cannot be seen from the outside. Buzz buzz buzz. Xuanhuan used his huge body and strength to continuously chase Zhang Zizai and use the Shenkong seal. A coward who doesn't even have the courage to fight head-on dares to fight me, Xuanhuan laughed loudly, very domineering. Really, Zhang Zizai just didn't let those moves hit him. He roamed freely on this battlefield. Under the free and easy tour, everything was under his control. In fact, Feng Xiaoao was watching from a distance. This little guy really has my style. He saw Zhang Zizai wandering around. He used the dragon ghost sword to pierce the death god dark dragon's chi into Xuanhuan's giant wood Xuanhu holy body little by little. Until Xuanhuan found out, his body had been entangled by a huge grey-black dragon. The dragon was biting his body. Even after the transformation, those were flesh and blood. Flesh and blood could not stop the death god at all. I don't know. From that moment on, Xuanhuan began to scream. Zhang Zizai threw out the soul-suppressing talisman, and the dragon ghost sword was transformed into a heavy sword, which directly killed him head-on. The dragon robbery sword technique broke out again. Bang bang bang. Xiankong flew backwards and transformed into contact. The whole person was covered by the death god Dark Dragon's chi, and his flesh and blood were blurred. Zhang Zizai put away his chi, otherwise he would become a corpse. The ancient god gave him such a terrible evolution source, which made him sensational here again, and people began to look at him with real fear. At this moment, he is the death god of this divine sect. Xiankong's bloody body explained everything. Fortunately, Zhang Zizai consumed several glowing talismans to quickly restore his flesh and blood, which was almost like a resurrection. After all, he didn't want to kill people and give others a chance to punish him. But Xiankong's injury obviously required some time to recover. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 260. When people heard Xiankong's miserable howl and saw him rolling on the ground, they knew how badly he had been defeated. At this time, only Xianye could go up to help him. Both of their faces were pale. They had both failed, and so miserably. Brothers, today's performance ends here. I will challenge you again later. Then everyone must come and support me. My popularity today is really low, and I feel very sad. I hope someone can come next time. Support me. Zhang Zizai acted as if nothing had happened. Starting today, his name will be hung on the 19th floor of the Beast God Tower. However, this is just the beginning. It's not his ultimate goal. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow Diamond Suit. He said goodbye to the 9 gods who still needed to stay here, put their arms around Lu Dingxing and the others, and left in a swaggering manner, leaving many people looking at each other. He's still coming. Come on, there is always a chance of defeat. Kill his spirit. Otherwise, who will feel comfortable if he keeps being so arrogant? Zhang Zizai wanted to get support, but obviously no one supported him. After all, everyone had arrogance in their hearts. Why was Zhang Zizai the one who shocked the whole audience? You know, in the past they were all the same people who could shock everyone. Boss, your slap is really good, it relieved my anger. Bai Shenjin was very happy. To be honest, there is too much pressure here, everyone is so awesome, Wan Qian lamented. They couldn't be like Zhang Zizai and still stand out here. Zhang Zizai said, brothers, don't be discouraged. Just calm down and keep moving forward. Whatever happens to me in the future, I will never forget you. The 5 of us will one day stand at the top of this Shen section, standing at the top of this continent of origin. What good it was, he certainly wouldn't forget them. As the elder brother, Zhang Zizai would naturally seek good fortune for these younger brothers and sisters if possible. After all, without him, Bai Shenjin and Wan Qian would never have come to such a terrible place as Shenzong. They may not be able to leave the Yanlong dynasty in their lifetime. Everyone played together for a while, and Zhang Zizai devoted himself seriously to training again. He switched to low-key mode again, and the entire Shenzong could not see his presence. However, his performance this time still caused a certain sensation. He is now really a famous person in the Beast God Palace. Occasionally someone would talk about him. Speaking of his relationship with the 9 Immortals, he shook his head and sighed. The talent is good, but it's a pity that he was blinded by beauty and couldn't become a big success. 9 Immortals, the divine cursor, is really a monster. She is a genius who specializes in destroying our divine section. She has killed so many people, and yet she wants to harm Zhang Zizai. She is such a vicious monster. I really don't know why I want her to come back. She is a disaster to the country and the people, otherwise how could she be so beautiful? If she is placed in the lower dynasty, she will definitely make the king obsessed and destroy a dynasty. Zhang Zizai, if he can't control his lower body, it will never be possible. I think the 9 Immortals are so demonic. I don't know when they will suck him clean. What's the use of being young when you meet such a demonic woman? Haha. Some people say that if they could sleep with this witch for one night, they would lose 10 years of their life. This shows how charming she is. However, you really shouldn't mess with this kind of person. If she wasn't such a monster, how could she be the person cursed by the ancient gods? These callous and ruthless comments are a reflection of their vulgar hearts. Even people from Shenzong are not immune to worldly despicability. Perhaps, since ancient times, those alluring people, those peerless beauties that ordinary people cannot obtain, will always be ruined by such wretched comments. People will always denigrate what they can't get. As long as there are some rumors, how can they care whether they are true or false? It's just to vent the embarrassment that I can't get. Zhang Zizai didn't go out because he didn't want to hear these obscene words. This would make him angry, and he might want to kill someone directly. He knew that perhaps those people could only shut up if he stood on the top of all living beings. He tried hard. The 9 immortals are actually working hard to control their own destiny. On the 4th night after Zhang Zizai challenged the Beast God Tower, the 9 immortals broke through again. She was so happy that she kissed Zhang Zizai on the face several times, leaving half of his face covered with lip marks that she couldn't even wash off. However, he was reluctant to wash it. "Can you apply for the assessment and become a divine attendant?" Zhang Zizai asked. The realm above the holy body realm seems to be called the divine seal realm. Zhang Zizai didn't know much about this realm, but he knew that his mother Ruohua, Zhang Iniu, Zhang Su, Nangongke, and Zhu Shen were all in this realm. Ling Qingtian is also in this realm, but it is the highest level. As for his father Zhang Yunding and Emperor Yanlong, they have transcended this realm. The servants of the Holy God and some of the divine servants have basically transcended this realm and reached the 5th great realm of practice. The Shenzong stipulates that if a priest cannot reach the realm of the divine seal before the age of 30, he will be sent out to work as a priest in various parts of the origin continent and will no longer have the opportunity to return to the Shenzong. If you reach the age of 30, there will be a 5-year assessment period for the quasi-godly attendant. If you can reach the 5th level of the divine seal realm before the age of 35, you can become a divine attendant. After that, in the 5 years before the age of 40, depending on the progress of cultivation, if you are good enough, you will stay and become a successor to the god of inheritance. If you are not so good, you will go to various places in the origin continent to become a god of temples. Of course, god of temples is also quite good. It is also the overlord of each place, a figure who can call the wind and rain. Juxian is less than 30 years old, and with the help of Zhang Zizai, he has broken through to the 5th level of the God Seal realm. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Jushan actually cultivated to the 6th level of the God Seal realm alone when he was offering sacrifices to the temple. She didn't have any thoughts at first, but when she knew that she had broken through, Ling Qingtian, Feng Xiaoao and Gu Xianying all encouraged her to participate in the God of Temples assessment. They will let a god of spells become a god of spells. This is not a joke. Juxian shook his head. It depends on the intention of the palace master. God of spells does not exist in the laws and regulations of the divine section. If he acts in accordance with the laws and regulations, you can become a god of spells if you meet the regulations, Feng Xiaoao said. Go Zhang Zizai also wanted her to face a normal life. With so many people's encouragement, she finally made up her mind. In fact, in her current realm, it is also a very good talent. Generally speaking, even the Son of God, at the level of senior priests, is at most the peak of the God Seal realm. She is still at the age of a senior priest, and can actually challenge the Beast God Tower, but it is the Sun Beast God Tower. After practicing to the God Seal realm, a normal person has a lifespan of at least 100 years, so she is actually very young. Zhang Zizai sometimes thinks that if both of them lose their teeth in the future, one is 80 and the other is 90, then the age difference of more than 10 years is nothing. Looking far away, you will find that the things under your feet are not that important. 3 days later, there was a notice to let Juxian go to the Beast God Temple to accept the God Servant assessment. This is the place where Jushan had just been a few days ago. I want to go together, Zhang Zizai said. I'll take it with me, it should be no problem. The news that Juxian was going to participate in the God Servant assessment spread, and for a time attracted countless voices of opposition. How can a mantra caster worship the gods? Guide the disciples to practice. However, the Beast God Palace Master acted according to the rules, and people could only make noise, but could not influence the result.